All right, number 22. It is an absurd idea that whatever artistic endeavor the government refuses to support, it does not allow. Okay, so it's absurd. It is an absurd idea that whatever artistic endeavor the government refuses to support, it does not allow. So I guess what we're saying here is like, just because a government doesn't support something, it's absurd to think that it doesn't allow that artistic endeavor. As one can see by rephrasing the statement to read, no one is allowed to create art without a government subsidy. So it's like we're saying that you can see how crazy that sounds with this statement. No one is allowed to create art without a government subsidy. Okay. So we're looking for a claim, and then we're supporting it by like a rephrasing. So A, the claim that any driver who is not arrested does not break the law is absurd. Okay, so the claim that any driver who is not arrested does not break the law is absurd. So we're saying that, hey, just because a driver is not arrested, to say that they do not break the law is crazy. As one can see by rewording it, every driver who breaks the law gets arrested. All right. I'm going to leave A open. Wait, the claim that any driver who is not arrested does not break the law is absurd. Yeah, I like A. All right, let's see about B. The claim that any driver who is not arrested does not break the law. So the claim that any driver who does not get arrested does not break the law is absurd, as one can see by rewording every driver who gets arrested has broken the law. All right, I don't like B because I don't think that this is like a funny statement. Like every driver who gets arrested has broken the law. Like, yeah, like if you get arrested, hopefully you have broken the law. Where like in our conclusion in 22, we're kind of saying this ironic statement, like no one is allowed to create art without a government subsidy. So this like B would have to be saying like every person who breaks the law gets arrested. It would have to be the more extreme end. So that's why I don't like B. C says the notion that every scientist who is supported by a government grant will be successful is absurd. So we're saying like to think that every scientist that gets money from the government is going to be successful is crazy. As you can see by no scientist who is successful is so without a government grant. No, that's not the same comparison of what we're looking for. D says the notion that every scientist who is supported by the government grant will be successful is absurd, so it's crazy again. As one can see by rewording it, no scientist lacking government support, no scientist that does not support will be successful. No, because that's like this statement here is not a proper rewording of the first half of this. The first half is saying that every scientist that is supported will be successful. This is saying no scientist lacking. So if you don't have support, then you won't be successful. And that's just is not, those aren't comparing the same things. And then E says the notion that every scientist who has been supported by the government grant will be successful is absurd. As one can see by rewording it, no scientist is allowed to do research without a government grant. No, because we bring in like we don't talk about being allowed to do research without a government grant in this first sentence. This is all about, hey, every scientist that is given support by the government will be successful. And so this one brings in no scientist is allowed to bring research. It's too big of a jump. We don't make that far of a jump in our original argument because we say it's an absurd that it is a crazy idea that whatever artist endeavor the government does not support, it does not allow. And we don't bring in a third variable here and say, oh, and then blah, 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 blah. And so because of that, our answer is going to be A.